to Seth.
Yeah, Tyrique, does it feel weird as kind of like the last man standing of the JMU guys and kind of what was it like yesterday, kind of seeing everybody kind of go through pro day?
I was really happy for all the guys and just seeing them come back and stuff. I definitely was like, yeah, I miss y'all and stuff like that. But yeah, it felt kind of weird. But again, I know everything is with due time, and it's daytime right now, and I was just happy and supportive of them.
We'll go to Seth on your left, and we'll go to Pete.
Hey, you all have had plenty of turnover, roster turnover in the defensive line room this from the end of last year to now. Just how much are you, as kind of the one of the returning guys, just trying to really step up and kind of be that voice?
Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to do that a lot. We got a lot of young guys, a lot of defensive tackles and defensive linemen at that, and a lot of young guys in general. So I kind of want to, be the example and set the standard because I know what the standard is, and hopefully everybody else rise to that standard and just try to show them, a prime example and try to lead by example.
Go second row left to Pete, and then Sammy.
Yeah, Tyrique, I guess, how does your role change at all, for this coming season, and how exciting is it to potentially have another outstanding defense?
Yeah, I mean, my role is to be the anchor of this defense and do what I do and control what I can and try to lead by example again. More so because I know a lot of the young guys kind of look up and they're watching, so I have to be on my P's and Q's even more than I was even last season. So yeah, I definitely think it changes in a way of I have to be even more mature and kind of lead the way because I'm one of the oldest ones.
Go second row left to Sammy, and then we'll go Jared.
Tyrique, a lot of new faces in that defensive line room, not only in the middle but on the edges. How are those guys fitting in? Does anybody stand out to, like, hey, they get it right away?
Yeah, we kind of all getting into the flow of things. Spring ball. Guys are learning as we go. We got some young guys that kind of stand out. They getting better day in and day out. Kind of all collectively as a group. Blake kind of stands out. Toby, Chitty, Burnham. Guys kind of all stand out. Dre. We all just collectively, getting better and better with day in and day out, working and improving.
Go second row middle to Jared, and we'll go to Zach.
You've been with Coach Coots longer than anybody. Just what makes him such a good player developer, and how does he get the most out of you guys?
He's a very intense coach. He demands a lot from us, and that in turn makes us rise to the standard that we have to meet every day. So he's very demanding, and he coaches hard. And at first it's a lot, but it's really just him, bringing out the best in you.
Go Zach B, and then Joe.
How close are you with Mario on and off the field?
Pretty close. We was just hanging out yesterday. Just chilling. So, I mean, we pretty close. We got great chemistry. And, again, this year, 3 of us, playing together and, getting reps and stuff like that. So, yeah, we pretty close, and I feel like we have great chemistry.
We'll go front row right to Joe.
Coach Brown is pretty emphatic with his whistle. What was your first impression of him? What has he been like in the weight room so far?
Oh, yeah, man. He's been doing a phenomenal job. He gets us right, introduced a lot of new movements that I've never done before. So I feel like that's good for my body and for everyone's body and stuff like that. So I think he's doing a great job.
Anything else for Tyrique?
What's it like to embark on the season after the historic season, especially when 16-0 in a national championship is so hard to beat?
I mean, it's just day in and day out. We fall in love with the process and more so not the result. So, we get 1% better every day, and we just, restart the process. I mean, last year was last year, and it was amazing. But now, it's time to do that all over again. And to do that, you got to, handle every day and win every day.
On a more personal note, your partnership with High for the Squeak Burger, can you just talk about the story behind that for the cancer support community and just how that's impacted you?
Yeah, like I said, I felt like a real calling to do that, being that I lost my mom and, seeing her fight and, we was able to raise for my mom. We started a GoFundMe. We was able to raise like $70,000 for her when she was battling, and just seeing how much that helped her and took all that stress off of her. You understand when people are going through that and they battle with that, finances can play a part, and if you're able to help anyone and be a blessing to someone, then you should do that. And when I did that, and me and my brother, we did that for our mom, it just helped her so much. And being able to, help other people and help them and give them some relief. When Indiana and the whole state in general has been such a blessing to me and stuff like that, means a lot to me. And I felt like a real calling. And I was just already down to do it once I heard what it was and who it could help, and it just felt like a personal thing to me, and it really pulled on my heart. And I was like, yeah, I'm down to do that for sure.
Wrap up with Josh front left.
Tyrique, we've seen you in the middle of the end of team stretching. How have you found your voice as a leader now, as the veteran?
Like I said, I've been in the program pretty much longer than anybody else on the team, and I understand what the coaches demand from us, and what we should demand for ourselves, and just the work that it took to get here, and nothing comes overnight. It's a process, and I just kind of try to show the way and be more vocal, because I know that guys are looking at me, and this team needs that, and I feel like I can do that.
Great. Thanks, Tyrique. Thank you.